Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, I'm back at Giga-Texas and we now have blue bonnets. It's kind of that time of year. We're going to have these all over the countryside. It's going to add a lot of color to this part of Texas. And it's one of my favorite times of year. So if you've never come out to see all the blue bonnets, I definitely recommend you do. Now today, the big news is, of course, Tesla announced their first quarter results. They manufactured 362,000 vehicles worldwide, delivered 336,000. They also had 10.4 gigawatt hours of energy storage. And most of the reason for those numbers, as Tesla has been saying for several months now, including the fourth quarter financial results meeting, are several weeks of non-production of the Model Ys worldwide as they were transferring over the production from 4 factories, 3 different countries, and 3 different supply chains. So given all that, I think they did pretty well. The real teller will be the end of the second quarter, and we'll see how the ramp is going. For today here at Giga-Texas, 2 things that I just want to tell you about. First, over at the south end of the electrical switch yard at that new Megapack site, the Megapacks are actually arriving and being installed this morning. So I saw at least 5 Megapacks on trucks, one of them on a crane, being installed on those steel beams that we saw being installed on either side of the transformers. Also have some of the electrical equipment that is going to be put on those risers, that platform on the north end of that Megapack site. So great work and progress there. Of course, people will ask, what are those Megapacks for, since there's another one here at Giga-Texas? It's a good question. It's related to the Cortex supercomputer cluster. Not only does it provide power, backup power for that data center, but most importantly is it conditions the power and it makes sure that they don't have high speed, frequency and voltage peaks and valleys as the computers are operating. So it's very important to have this Megapack here at Giga-Texas. The last major construction item for the intro that I want to talk about is over on the west side by Tesla Road and the intersection with State Highway 130. This is where they're continuing to prepare the earth for what I am being told is a new welcome center for Giga-Texas. And what it actually looks like and how big it's going to be, hard to say for sure, but I think it's going to be an improvement for bringing in people for public events such as shareholder meetings in the future. So anyway, I'll continue to monitor that development, plus a lot more that's going on around the site today. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Congratulations for Tesla for doing that worldwide 4 factory, 3 country, 3 supply chain changeover of the Model Y production, and looking forward to see what you do in the second quarter. So let's get in the drone, let's go flying, see what Giga-Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from the far west side of Giga-Texas, looking back towards the main factory and at this location where they are doing the work to prepare for what I'm being told is a welcome center. Tesla Road is on the bottom left. You can see the main highway and the vehicles driving, so you get a good context of where this is located. Now, the work continues to try to prepare this grade, filling in the low spots on the right-hand side of the screen, getting rid of the trees as well, and then on the left-hand side of the screen where materials have been staged before, looks like they're moving some of the dirt to lower the grade here and help raise the grade on the right-hand side of the screen. And overall, this is what it's looking like right now. Now, I don't know if they're going to continue this further to the west or if it's going to be this large square section, but that'll be something that I will continue to monitor. Now, on the left-hand side of the screen, we see a large delivery of some steel items, and it looks like there are some columns as well. Now, in this section where steel items are being stored, at the bottom of the screen, as we're just passing over, are bridge crane rails, and those may be related to that central support facility that's being constructed on the north end that will also house the Cortex-2 computers, and that makes sense. So they're going to need to have some bridge cranes to be able to maneuver some heavy equipment. Now, these fan units and the other items around may or may not be related to that particular construction site. It is something that I'm continuing to watch. Now, by the trees, you can tell that more of the fence has been added. This is running along the entire west side to support separate the west support facility here. You can see some of the material staging on the left and the end of line and outbound lot, and also it's separating it from the houses on the right. You can see that fence line running all along this berm and the culvert where they would have some space for water to collect and be drained away. Now, as we get to the outbound lot, we do see that there are continuing to be Cybertrucks here on the north end, some of the new Model Ys as well. Many of these Cybertrucks have that blue wrap around the side pillars, and a lot of these also seem to be being moved over from the east side temporary staging yard. Here it looks like some of the front trunks are open and a nice view of all of that blue plastic and kind of wrapping around that side of the rails as they continue to work to fix that recall. Here is a good line of the new Model Ys facing away from us. I want to take this opportunity to get in close and look at the badges and show you that these are all non-launch edition. They most part seem to say dual motor, and that would mean that these are the all-wheel drive versions of them. Now, I've seen some, at least in other markets, saying long range, so I don't know if we're going to see that in the United States or not, but this is a good close-in view of what this looks like with the non-launch edition models, and also all of the various colors that they have available right now. I've had some viewers ask me why they don't have black or the dark blue from the previous years. I can't answer that for sure. It just looks like they've either discontinued it or they're planning on introducing those and other colors later on. But right now, this is the colors that we have. There are more Cybertrucks being staged here on the south end, along with some of the Model Ys. We can see more of them here at the bottom of the screen on the west side of the outbound lot. We are early in the morning on this Wednesday, and I expect to see these lots here filling up with a lot more of those Model Ys. Now we're into the second quarter, and we'll see a lot of the trucks picking them up and moving them off-site as well. I did want to take a moment and look at this material staging yard, take a look at some of what is being stored here. In particular, on the bottom we see the cable trays on the spools of cables, and this may be playing a role in some of the electrical work that we're seeing over by the electrical switch yard and the Megapack site. Here, many of these transformers have been moved off-site. This is what is remaining at the moment. And as far as what they're being used and where, I don't know. But I do know that they are doing a lot of preparation for the June Robotaxi event in Austin. That means that they're going to have places to charge them and clean them. So maybe those transformers are being used for that. Can't say for sure, but it is at least what I can speculate at this time. I did notice over at these materials that are being staged, there is activity today. And the crews are preparing these cabinets. They look very much like the cabinets that we saw being moved into the 4680 cell production part of the factory. And it looks like they are looking at that sign with the Tesla emblem. And this does look indeed very similar to what had been moved for those 4680s. So this is most likely, at least part of it, related to 4680 cell manufacturing. At the bottom of the screen, we see additional deliveries, and also as I bring the drone up, we can take a look across the power lines and see where there's more steel items being stored, and those are for interior construction in the factory itself. And then on this large field at this far southwest side of the site, we You can tell that more of the spoils are being delivered here, kind of that gray material in this small pit. That's coming from the caissons as they continue to do excavation work on several of them, and they sink in. They have to remove that dirt. The color of the dirt indicates that they are well below the sand and gravel, and now they're into rock. So that is a good sign that those caissons are getting very close to their final depth. I also noticed in this material staging yard that there's a new tent near where we have all of these concrete vault items. There's also a silt fence to the bottom of the screen and some other fencing for kind of segregating this section out. And that's probably just to keep different materials separated from each other. But having that tent with that large roll-up door is a big development. And here is all of these transformers that have been sitting here for a while. There's been some new ones delivered. You can kind of tell by the different coloration, the ones coming into the center here. They're slightly more white, but they're all coming from the same company. I believe the manufacturer is down in Mexico. Where these are going to be used, I'm not really sure. I'll keep monitoring that. More steel items are being delivered here. It's possible that these are for inside the factory, or perhaps they're using a temporary staging yard for that north construction site while it's under development. It also may be used near that north part where the Welcome Center is being constructed. So definitely something to keep watching. I mentioned the caissons, and here is one of them with the tunnel boring machine at the bottom of this large depression. We can see one of those concrete pipe segments getting ready to be lifted up by the crane, and those are brought down to the bottom of the caisson, and the pistons are retracted. They put that segment into this kind of holder, and then the pistons extend and push them in to the bore of the tunnel, as you can see with one of them already partially installed. And this is continuing as that tunnel boring machine works its way to the south under the Colorado River to connect to another caisson under construction. Also, next to the crane in that square or rectangular section is some of the spoils that have been brought out of the bottom of the tunnel and that boring hole, and they have to continue to remove that, move it over to that southwest side so that they can continue the tunnel liner installation. Not a lot of activity at the Cyber Tunnel today, but I did want to fly back over to the outbound lot, give you a closer view of some of the vehicles that are just parked here. You can tell a lot of Cybertrucks and Model Ys kind of mingled together. Here at the Superchargers, more of the same, and along the west side of the end-of-line facility, more of the Model Ys. Now again, this is early in the morning, so production was just ramping back up. I did see many of the Model Ys driving around the facility on their way over to process here at the end-of-line facility. And this is a look back across the highway towards where they exit the factory, just to the north of the West Main entrance. So I'm going to get ready to cross over the highway. We're going to take a look at some new developments on that side. Been mentioning that there's this new entrance. You can see some employees entering in on the left-hand side of the screen by the cyber berms and the stairs. Also, this is a bus stop with the covered white platforms, and they have the planters around this area too. You can also see the bus lane for drop-off. So this is now starting to become operational. At this area where the window and the wall panel have been removed, this is so that they can install equipment. It looks like they have put this covered walkway up to the stairs, and this is to help protect people as they walk through this area during the movement of some of the construction and production items that will be going through that large opening in the wall. So that is great to see this progress, and nobody will be interested to see what equipment is coming in through that area. As we continue to work our way towards the south along the west side of the factory, you can see the area where the Model Y is exiting, and it's almost as fast as they exit, they're being driven over to the west side, so they're not stacking up a whole lot. The orange Roadster has been moved away from the main entrance now, so we'll see a different display soon, and a few other items displayed near the base of the flagpoles. So let's work our way down to the south side at that temporary loading platform. You can see those plate type heat exchangers at the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure if those are going in or coming out, but they were there on my previous video. There was some additional equipment stored on the ground here next to this white van, but by the time I got back with the drone, it had already been moved inside. We do see workers preparing the mounts for the glass in this section, and as I mentioned to you before, the walls underneath this entrance area have been painted black. And this is a part of the process to make it all blend in and look like it's part of the new window line. Some good views underneath into where that drive path is, and the boring tunnel entrance is just around that corner inside. As I bring the drone back up, we can tell that some of the crates with the glass have been relocated to this side of the site. This southwest side has been mostly cleaned up on this asphalt parking lot, and there's some dividers that are preventing equipment to come down in this area. This is a look at the south end with the grass, the emergency tunnels, and the walkways, and how this is looking today. Also, some of the roof drains at that lower level into the cyber pond. As I continue to pull away, we'll see what the factory looks like from this perspective. And also on the left-hand side is that smaller caisson. Not a lot of work there, but nearby is this work where they've got this excavation. They also have some of these pipe segments on the right, and it's possible that this is what's going to be connecting into that caisson just to the north of the road. So definitely something I'll continue to monitor as all of this develops, and I'll pull away for a nice overall view of the factory, and we'll fly along this south end and get a good view of what it looks like here on this part of the site today. For those that are counting, good news, there's 4 of the fan units of the cooling plant in work today, as you can tell. As I zoom in, this is what the glass installation looks like. Much of those open sections are still being open, I think, so that they can load equipment inside. And then once that is all completed, they can add the final glass. The workshop here in the middle of the screen does not look like it's changed a whole lot, but they could be doing some work on the inside. It would be very difficult to tell from this vantage point. As I pirouette over towards this old pond area that has been here since before Giga-Texas was constructed, I'm going to work our way back over to the multi-level parking garage. The biggest thing that I did notice is that there is some testing going on with this LiDAR Model 3, and it was driving around the roof section. You can see how some of it is marked off, and this particular vehicle will turn into this ramp and then exit into the facility. But this is part of what I think is continued preparation for the robotaxi unveil coming up in June. Now, I have been told that around the city, there's at least several dozen of the new Model Ys being driven by an individual driver testing out the robotaxi systems. Also, they may be testing out some of the ride-hailing part of the app and the charging and cleaning station. So they are well on their way to getting ready for that robotaxi unveiling coming up in June. And Elon, Lars, Franz, and several employees have confirmed that that is their plan. Now, we saw some items being loaded up into the temporary platform on the wall. We see these 2 tents, which may be for inductive charging. Still not sure about that. And this is what the lot looks like with the Cybertrucks. As you can tell, many of them have been now relocated over to that west side, as we saw earlier in the video. Now, I'm going to reposition the drone up towards the east side, and I'm going to take a look at some of the activity here. Of course, the east warehouse on wheels with all of those trailers. The bottom of the screen is the recycling yard, And this is where they recycle everything from crates to vehicles to structural packs and pretty much everything in between. On the bottom of the screen is more of the workshops and equipment. And as we continue to fly back towards the die shop, we'll be flying over more of the trailers for the construction companies, although if you look on the ground, there's many empty spots as some of the trailers have been relocated off the site very recently. As we get in closer towards this part of the site, I'm going to turn back and give you an overall view of the east side with that warehouse on wheels, the parking lot, and of course the main factory. And at the bottom of the screen, we can see that kind of Quonset hut. The roof has been restored, and that is used for some of the maintenance and also just workshops. As I come back down into the south end of the die shop and the battery cathode plant, we had a nice view of the construction site, which we'll see here momentarily. But here on the ground is where they're continuing to work to install the underground steel corrugated pipes for the underground water management system. And this will connect the new construction site over to the filtration pond on the east side of the cathode plant. Here is a nice lower altitude view of what is going on here. We can see the sheet piles that help keep it from collapsing in, and also the work to keep the pipes that are already in place suspended with those beams and straps. As I maneuver to go down the alleyway, I wanted just to show you that there's another large delivery here of this wooden crate, some other items, and just inside the doorway we see what looks to be a crate that's partially unpacked. So additional equipment continues to find its way into the die shop. The chiller plant continues to see some level of activity. There is some frost on at least one of the vaporizers, and all four of the fan units are operational. You can see those plate-type heat exchangers on that roof segment, along with some of the pumps and pipes. Now, I'm looking at the roof here. We saw in my previous video that some of the membrane had been pulled away. Looks like all of that work has been completed. They have included or installed some of these enclosures. It looks like some equipment along this side as well, and some of the remnants of the work on the bottom left of the screen. While we're here, I'm going to give you a perspective from the east looking to the west across the crash test facility. Many of the vehicles that have been crash tested, it looks like some of them are being picked up for transport off-site, perhaps including that red with the white stripe Model Y. And as I was continuing to fly towards the north here, I noticed that the temporary panels had been removed from this section. They're also removing a section of the concrete slab. And I'm taking advantage of the lighting and my drone location to give you a view on the inside of what that part of the battery cathode plant looks like. Certainly appears that there's going to be some rework in front of that kind of doorway with that concrete. As we fly back over the wade pit, we'll see the cell testing lab and some new pipes that have been delivered by those trucks on the ground. And I'll bring the drone up to a much higher altitude, show you this northeast section. Just as a reminder, in where these hills are and some of the trees going into that larger field will eventually be a test track for Giga-Texas. Also north of there, there's going to be the new Harold Green Road that should begin construction very soon, as the permits and also the notifications to the residents nearby have all taken place earlier this year. I like this view as just an overall shot of this side of the factory and the site with the battery cathode plant and crash testing facility on the left, the die shop, and this large central support campus facility that is under construction. And this gives us a nice view of what that appears like. Now, I've mentioned before in the permits, the middle section where the buildings are going to be constructed, they had 3 different buildings and 2 water tanks. But looking at the footings, it's definitely changed. So we'll have to continue to monitor that. Next to the switch yard, this area where they are preparing that dirt and the grade is where they're going to be doubling the switch yard size. And we'll see more of that here shortly. I did notice that there's this deliveries of these concrete vaults next to this section. They're going to be stored momentarily, and then they'll be installed around this area. Also note that there is a fence around the perimeter of the main construction site, and they also have the perimeter road around the building footprint. This gives you an idea of what these larger augers are doing, making these piles or piers putting in some of the dirt, and then the compactor is compacting it down inside, and that's to strengthen the overall soil for construction. We also see those groupings of small circles on the ground. Those are where the footings are going to be constructed, and the piers are already in place all throughout this entire section. As I continue to maneuver over towards the die shop, I wanted to give a good quick look at the rebar cages that are under construction or assembly here for the footings. You can tell that there are several different kinds of these rebar cages in different sizes as well. Now, as we continue to maneuver around here, I wanted to show you that the perimeter grade beam is being prepared. That is basically the bottom of the walls for the facility. And as we look at this and we see all of the construction, the rebar that's being placed in the cages, we can tell that this is definitely a single building now rather than two separate ones. And I'm not sure what the change rationale is or when that was made. The permits that are on file, at least as a few weeks ago, are obviously different than what we're seeing now. At the bottom of the screen, we see that new kind of a workshop or warehouse that was erected on my previous video. Now today we see a lot of steel items being delivered and stored nearby. In addition to that, we see more of the perimeter grade beam under construction here. Some of the rebar cages being installed along this beam. And in addition to that, we can see newly poured footings nearby. So as I continue to maneuver around, I'll just give you a good view of this work that is underway, the new beams or the steel items that were delivered, what they look like. And I'm going to pull away and we'll take a look at some other parts of this construction site. Now, directly ahead of us is the location where that switchyard will be extended and doubled in size. Also, at the bottom of the screen, we see this excavation, and then you see the drain pipe at the top center of the screen. They're going to bring that pipe all the way through this area to this new pond, and then the rest of the grade will be completed, and then the switchyard will be built on top of this. So as far as the drainage that you see in place on the right-hand side of the screen, that will be taken care of by extending that pipe over to that new pond. I like this angle shot because we're low enough to get a good sense of the height that is still remaining for them to level up this ground. You can take a look at the telephone pole and the equipment nearby to get a sense of scale. One of the last things I want to show you today, and is a big news item, is the start of installation of the Megapack themselves on this new Megapack site. Also, they have some electrical equipment that has been delivered near this raised platform, and that will be installed here momentarily. They also have the stairs and railings around this platform. As I continue to maneuver the drone around to try to give you the best shot possible of this installation, we can get a great idea of how this is going to take place. They're putting the Megapacks on those beams on the ground. There'll be 2 Megapacks per each of the beams. And I'm not going to do the math here, but you can count how many of the individual beams. Also, compared that to the transformers, we get a pretty good idea of the overall size of this Megapack. You can also compare that to the older Megapack on the left-hand side of the screen. And this gives you the look of the old and the new side by side. More trucks bringing in the Megapacks today. And just the process is very quick and simple. So I suspect they're just going to have a long train of trucks coming in with the Megapacks, and they'll just be lifting them and placing them onto these beams as you see going on today. But I'm really glad to be able to show you the very first Megapack being installed here at the new Megapack site. And as I mentioned in the intro, this Megapack is to support Cortex 1 and Cortex 2 and help make sure that they have a stable frequency and voltage while the computers are doing their processing. And that will help ensure that the computer cluster and the data center works properly. So I'm going to get back towards the main factory, and there's one last thing I want to show you today. Now what I had noticed is there's this silt fence and some gravel that has been added over the grass right in the middle of the screen. And this is near that 4680 cell portion of the factory. Also, some crews have been working here for the last couple of days. I don't know exactly what they're putting in here. I don't know if they're going to be adding some new structure or if there's just some underground pipes or conduit that has to be fixed, but it is definitely something worth watching. So that'll bring to a close the video of today, the 2nd of April here at Giga-Texas. Again, congratulations to Tesla for your first quarter results. I'm looking forward to a great second quarter. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.